I have no idea how this has happened, but we are just 1 week away today, so it comes out on November the 22nd, we are 1 week away from release of Civilization 6 on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and the expansions across Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch. Today we're going to start off previewing the expansions with Rise and Fall, but we'll move on to Gathering Storm before the game releases next Friday. In previewing the Rise and Fall expansion pack, we're not just going to look at the new civilizations it brings, although that'd be a lot easier. We're actually going to look at a lot of the key mechanics it brings, such as loyalty and the governance system. If you want to see more videos like this, please do go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more of our Civ updates, both pre and post release of the game. And yeah, let's jump in and talk first of all about the new civilizations and content. Yes, so I thought I'd start off easy today and save the heavy lifting for later on in the video. So, the key civilizations that are coming to Civilization 6 Rise and Fall when it comes to consoles are these as follows. We've got Poundmaker of the Cree, everybody's favourite secret crazy auntie, Wilhelmina of the Dutch. We've got Tamar of Georgia, Chandragupta, the second leader of India in the game. We've also got Gandhi in the base game. Sondok of Korea, Lautaro of the Mapuche, Genghis Khan of the Mongols, Robert the Bruce of Scotland, and Shaka of the Zulu. So we have lots and lots of new civilizations in the game, all of which offer nice different bonuses. I really can't wait to play as Korea. I don't know why. When I owned the game on PC, I never played as Korea, but I really wanted to because of all the science. So I'm really excited to jump in with that. So, however, it's not just civilizations that the new content includes. The game also, Rise and Fall, also brings brand new wonders such as the Taj Mahal and the Statue of Liberty. I thought that would have been in the base game, but I don't know. And also new units such as Special Ops, so you know, you can play about with them. If you do want to learn more about the civilizations added in the game and exactly what wonders, buildings and units come to Rise and Fall, feel free to check out the links in the description, or alternatively just Google things, because Googling's really easy and there's lots of information out there. That also applies to literally anything you hear or see in this video. If you want to find out more, obviously feel free to ask me. I always get back to pretty much every comment, I think. But also, if you just want to read up on things, go in Google and research it, because there is so much information out there. Anyway, after moving off of the really easy stuff with the content, I mean, it's easy to understand content, right? Let's start talking about new game mechanics, like emergencies. We will start with emergencies because I think they are the simplest, or it is the simplest of the new mechanics. So, I'll read this from a website I'll leave a link into. So, emergencies are a feature added to Civilization 6 in Rise and Fall. They propose a specific mission targeting a specific nation, usually one which has done something serious in a game, such as conquering a city. All nations which agree to undertake the mission are bound to succeed or fail within a specific period of time. So yeah, I mean, these emergencies maybe have like a 30-turn limit to either beat the civilization and do what you want to do, whether that be take that city back that they've captured, for example, or fail. And there are consequences to both. So in cases of success, they will divide a large pot of gold and get a permanent bonus of some kind. Yes, if you are successful, you get obviously a permanent bonus and some gold. And gold is always nice in Civilization games because you can spend it to buy units or whatever you want. So yeah, however, if the target nation, so perhaps you are launching and part of an emergency, if your emergency fails with your coalition, then the enemy and the opposition to the emergency, the target of the emergency, actually gets the bonuses itself. So yeah, there you go. You want to be careful. If you want to launch an emergency, make sure you can pull it off. Otherwise, you could be handing an already powerful civilization that maybe has captured a few cities that people are worried about an even bigger bonus. So you've always got to consider exactly what to do. Also, you've got to consider things like, if I launch an emergency against a civilization, that's probably going to upset them. And also, you know, civilizations can target you for emergencies as well, so it's very interesting. It's a very good dynamic and mechanic in the games. Moving on then, let's talk about one of the biggest mechanics that actually come in Rise and Fall, and that still forms the basis of so much of the gameplay, even in Gathering Storm. So let's talk about the loyalty mechanics. These just change everything fundamentally. These change the strategies and everything. So, You need to keep people happy, and you can do this by managing housing and amenities and having strong culture. And if people actually aren't happy, they may become unloyal to your civilization and possibly eventually be drawn towards another civilization. So in the last video we talked about, when we previewed the base game, we talked about how there were two ways to capture cities. You could either, or two ways to have cities. You could either found the city yourself, or you could militarily conquer it. With this bonus, with this feature, sorry, you can now almost convert cities away from your enemies and towards you if you have good culture and play right. Now, from my experience managing the loyalty of your cities, although it can be quite difficult at times, it's far from impossible and is actually really fun. So, how does the mechanic affect strategies both offensively and defensively? And I'm not just talking about military matters here, I'm talking about sort of your civilization. So from your point of view, forward settling opponents to secure land and obviously maintaining sporadic empires is a lot more difficult in this game. You know, before you could just go and put a city down right in someone's back garden, and if you could hold it militarily, you could keep the city. But now, if you plonk a city down next to someone's, maybe not next to someone's capital, but next to a big cluster of their cities, and when you're at the other side of the world, that city is very quickly going to turn away from you and turn towards your enemies. Oh, also on the thing of forward settling, obviously it's very similar. If you're trying to forward settle an opposition civilization to land grab, you've got to be careful, because if you put this city to grab all this land, if you put that city too far forward, too far towards your enemy, again, you're looking at that city possibly converting as well, rebelling against you and then possibly joining that other civilization later on in the game. However, that is sort of on the defensive side of things. You can actually use this feature to your advantage. Like I said, you no longer have to just take cities by conquering them. If you want to focus on one specific city you want to take, there are ways and means of trying to unsettle that city, trying to put your influence on that city to get it to, first of all, rebel from the other civilization, and then for you to move in without too many diplomatic consequences. Honestly, it's a really fascinating mechanic. Now, it's not perfect because sometimes I just want to plonk a city down and not have to worry about it, but overall, I'm very happy, and whether you're using it offensively or defensively, it brings a lot to the game and a lot of strategy that I didn't really expect before this expansion came out. Moving on then, let's talk about something just as complicated but interesting equally. Let's talk about eras and era score. Now you're probably thinking, Alex, but didn't the base game have eras? Well, yes it did, but this time it's a lot more structured and it's a lot more important. So, obviously in the base game you progress through the eras, very much the same here. You move from the classical era, things like that, to the modern era. But this time it's a lot more structured and everybody enters and leaves an era at the same point. However, there are a few big changes, because each time the world progresses from one era to the next, your civilization and every other civilization in the game will enter an age. Now these ages in ascending order go from, at the very worst, a dark age, to a normal age, a golden age, or the heroic age. Now as a quick note, you can only enter the heroic age if you've previously, in the previous era, been in a dark age. But I wouldn't worry about that too much because it will make sense when you play the game. So how exactly do you decide what era you end up in? And well, it's pretty simple, but I'll try and make it as simple as possible. So the age your civ enters in is determined by how much era score, or your era points, whatever, you earned in the previous era. Each era has a set number of points required to achieve it, with a Dark Age requiring pretty much nothing, and a Golden Age, which is obviously so much better and will give you better bonuses and things like that, requiring a lot more points. Now you achieve these points by historical moments, basically. And by an historical moment, you know, you've got building a wonder such as Stonehenge, the Hanging Gardens, anything like that will get you points. Clearing out barbarian encampments early on in the game will get you points. Capturing enemy cities will get you points. Building your unique units and buildings will get you points. And all stuff like that. And you can also sort of manage how you get points when you come to an end of an era. So if you have a golden age, for example, you can pick a good way to attain points for the next era to try and keep yourself going. So that's how that works. Now, it does matter what age you end up in, so if you really want to be in a golden age or a normal age more often than not, because you get better bonuses, and therefore you can thrive a bit more. And also, linking this back to the previous point, to the point on loyalty we talked about, your cities will be more loyal to you in a golden age than they will be in a dark age. And obviously, you've got to think about that in terms of foreign policy as well, because if you're in a golden age and the city next to you of a different civilization is in a dark age, you've a much better chance of converting it first to a free city and then for you to capture. So it's worth thinking about, but era and era score really is interesting, and I think it's a really fascinating part because it allows you to have a real have a moment more than anything else. Maybe in a game you built Stonehenge in the base game, you know, you just saw a nice a nice visual for it, but now you get something for it. It's a big moment in your civilization's history. This is when it was decided you would be in a golden age, so it's definitely worth embracing. The final big change I want to talk about is the implementation of governors. Now, these work a lot with the other features we've talked about, but yeah, governors are pretty good. For example, recruiting a governor will give you era score, I believe, and also governors in cities help make them more loyal, things like that. So all these things are intertwining. So, how many governors are in the game, and what do they actually all offer? So now there are 8 governors, well, there are 7 governors, I believe, in Rise and Fall, and I think there's an 8th which comes with Gathering Storm. Now, all of these offer different bonuses depending on their areas of expertise. So Reyna is the financier. Basically, you get economic benefits for recruiting her and promoting her and having her in your cities. Victor is the Castellan. Basically, he's the military man. If you want a city defended, you want bonuses to that city to defend against attacks, you're going to put Victor in that city. Amani is the diplomat. She's very good with city-states and very good with diplomacy. Magnus is the steward. He is the industrialist. He's great for things like improving the food yield in a city and obviously improving the production in a city as well, if used correctly. He's a very interesting one. I don't use him so much, but I think he could be quite useful. Moksha is the cardinal. Basically, his job is to improve religion. If you want to go for a religious victory, you're gonna need this governor. Liang is the surveyor. She's great for building your cities up with quicker bonuses to things like building districts quicker. And also, I think one of her bonuses, it might be her base bonus, allows builders to have one more charge if recruited in the city she's in. So she's good for building things up. Pingala, who is my actual favourite because I love science, he's the librarian. He's great for improving your science shields. And Gathering Storm, I believe, adds Ibrahim, who seems to be useful for matters of military combat and also improving the loyalty of not just your cities, but he can also decrease the loyalty of your enemy's cities and things like that. So he seems to be quite useful, but I've not really used him up until this point. I really enjoy using the governors, but there are just a couple of things you do need to remember whilst playing with them. So, first of all, just because a governor is a specialist in one area doesn't mean that the governor won't have knock-on effects in other areas, so it's always important to look at every single bonus they offer. The second thing I want to say is that you need to remember that governors are improved and recruited using governor titles. Now, there are a limited amount of these in the game, so basically, by the end of the game, you will not be able to recruit every single governor and promote them to a level you want to. So you need to really look at your game, look at what victory you're going for, and think, yes, I need to recruit this governor, or instead maybe I'll use this title to promote one of my existing governors. So there is a bit of a management section of that you need to think about. And yeah, they are good. They also, and most crucially really, offer loyalty to the cities they're in. So you can only stick a governor in one single city, but whilst the governor is in there, it will secure the city's loyalty, well, a lot more of the city's loyalty, and it'd be harder to convert a city with a governor in, for example. So governors are good. They are a really innovative way that Civilization came up with to make the game more interesting and add something a little bit different. So I do like the governors. So there you have it, my key points for Civilization 6 Rise and Fall. I have tried my goddamn hardest to put them into simple enough terms, but you know, when you get your hands on the game, it will all make a lot more sense. But if you have got any questions, feel free to let me know down in the comments. I can't believe we are 1 week out from release. We've got, before release, a Gathering Storm preview to come, and also a final questions overview video to go. So if there's anything you want answering in those videos and want me to talk about, make sure you let me know down in the comment section of this video, and I will be sure to take note. Finally, if you have enjoyed today and want to see more Civilization 6 content for consoles and PC, I will still cover it on PC from time to time, make sure that you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and get thinking, what playthrough do you want to see on release, because I will be doing a playthrough, so let me know what you want to see. Finally, thank you so much for watching. I hope this has helped you and gave you an understanding of what Rise and Fall is all about, and I will see you in another video soon.